You can call me Alex, pero mas kilala ako sa social media as Ibanag in the City or Ibanag in Canada. We're an LGBTQ couple. One of the things na pinag-usapan talaga namin is, sabi niya, mag-move ako abroad. And if you're not willing to move with me, there's no reason for us to push through with this relationship. Prior to moving to Canada, we were in BPO operations. Pareho kami. My partner is an international student. We're still working on our PR. You know. How do you reconcile being gay and at the same time being very religious? I would say I'm not there. I'm very faithful. Yung commentaries ko about how the pandemic was handled in the Philippines started it all.
Okay.
Na nakilala na ako na parang, oh, hello Ibanagans, kunasika mo. And then came the elections, came the pink campaign.
So dyan pumasok ang political vlogging mo.
Oo.
Parang nahanap mo yung niche mo, I guess.
My political vlogging were during the pink campaign wasn't even politika eh. It's more of just campaigning for Lenny. Why Lenny? Yun. Or why not Bongbong? Bakit si Lenny ang dapat niyong piliin? And then nakapag-build ako ng community and then met new friends and umabot naman kahit papano ng 70k followers. Okay, pero I never monetize my account.
Hello Internet World, ako nga pala si Kyle from Filipino TV, also known as Coach Kyle from The Breakdown, also known as Kyle ang kabanda ng lahat from the Kulto Kultura podcast. And this is a totoo lang podcast. And for today's episode man, ang guest ko ay isang content creator, ay galing siya sa Philippines, ngayon nandito na siya sa Canada, gumagawa pa rin siya ng mga contents. Medyo in-introduce ko na siya. Hayaan ko na siyang further introduce yung sarili niya for this episode. Kasama ko si Alex.
Yeah, hello everybody. You can call me Alex, pero mas kilala ako sa social media as Ibanag in the City or Ibanag in Canada. So, kung magtatanong, ano ba yung Ibanag? It's a dialect or it's not really a dialect. It's a language in northern Philippines. Katulad siya ng Ilocano. So, we're in the middle of Cagayan Valley region. At one point, gusto ko kasing matouch yung aking roots. So I started creating contents to connect with people from Isabela and Cagayan na yung nagkakaintindihan kami na hindi lang ako nagtatagalog. So ganun yung beginning talaga when I started creating contents.
So yeah, he is a content creator kagaya ng nasabi nga niya, and Ibanag in Canada, Ibanag in the City. Ibanag in the City, yun yung account niya nung nasa Philippines pa siya. Tama. And then, ngayon nandito na siya. Ibanag in Canada na siya, guys. Kamusta ba? Kamusta ang
sabi nila
buhay?
So, sabihin, kung nasika mo yun yung kumusta ka in Ibanag.
Paano?
Kung nasika mo. Yun. So, madalas yun, nung nagsisimula ako mag-content, pag nakikita ako nung mga matagal ko ng followers, sabi nila ako, nasika mo kasi ganyan ako start ko, nasika mo. Which means, kamusta ka or how are you?
I guess ang answer dun is mabuti naman.
Mabuti naman.
Kumusta? Life recently? What have you been up to?
Okay naman. It's been almost 4 years here in Canada. Okay naman. We moved here in 2022. Pero pabalik-balik kami dito ng partner ko. We've been together for 9 years now. We're 5 years before we left the Philippines, and we actually got married here in 2022 as well. So,
congrats.
Yeah, everything is smooth flowing. Mas relax compared sa buhay sa Pilipinas, I think.
Sabay kayong pumunta rito.
Yeah.
You both decided to do that. Anong pathway?
Yeah, it's part of the plan. I mean, before we got together, because we were living together back in the Philippines. We're an LGBTQ couple. So when we got together, one of the things na pinag-usapan talaga namin is mag-move siya. Sabi niya, mag-move ako abroad. And if you're not willing to move with me, there's no reason for us to push through with this relationship. Sabi ko, I'll think about it. Tignan natin kung anong mangyari. And then yun nga. So it's a mutual decision. But before we move permanently to Canada, we came here a couple of times to check kung paano ba yung lifestyle ng mga tao, ano yung kailangan namin i-adapt. Although we have relatives here.
Okay.
Yung aunt niya na nagpalaki sa kanya, kung kasama namin sa bahay ngayon, yun yung sa kanya kami tumitira. Ako naman, I have relatives here, pero hindi ako ganun ka-close sa kanila.
Right.
So, mas on the side niya talaga. Yung,
Ano bang ginagawa niyo sa Philippines prior kay
so,
Moday?
prior to moving to Canada, we were in BPO operations. Pareho
Okay.
kami.
Oh.
So, I've been in the BPO industry for 14 years now.
You
Siya,
have a good career.
Yeah, I've never switched. Actually, I did. Parang in the middle lang. On my 10th year, sabi ko, ayoko na nga mag-call center. Gusto ko naman pumunta sa ibang industry. So I joined local government unit. So I serve as an executive assistant for a mayor. I
wow.
tried to see how it is on the grassroots. Kaso it didn't work out well. Sabi ng nanay ko, bumalik ka na lang ulit sa pagko-corporate mo kasi parang delikado. So yun. And then when I moved here, I also joined another outsourcing company. It's because it's already my expertise. I've built it. And luckily naman, very interesting, Kyle. When we moved here, hindi ko naman alam na makahanap ako agad ng trabaho.
Yeah. Medyo swerte ka sa
it's not
part-time.
easy. Parang nakikita ko nga nagsustruggle yung mga tao maghanap ng trabaho. And one thing sabi ko sa partner ko, ayokong magtrabaho sa service industry. Kasi sobrang hirap, ayoko makabasag or whatsoever. But if mangyari man, gagawin ko siya kung wala akong choice, di ba? Kasi you're moving into a new country. But luckily, sabi ko kasi on our second week sa Canada, sabi nabobore na ako, wala akong ginagawa. Sabi ko, hanap akong trabaho. Check ko sa LinkedIn. Tinawagan ako. And then came a pilot project for a cloud, it's a cloud project. Sabi ko, let me try. And I got in. And doon na nagsimula yung journey ko.
Galing, no? Swerte ka dun sa... Pero ano bang pathway nyo pala dito?
My partner is an international student. We're still working on our
PR.
Pero sabi ko nga, we've been blessed na we got really good employment. Madali yung naging promotion ko, and it's because of my experience back in the Philippines as well. But I started as a frontliner.
Frontliner.
Oo,
Okay.
hindi ako nagsimula na kasi when I left the Philippines, I'm already an assistant operations manager. So pero nagpunta ako dito, parang nasa akin kasi yun. Ayoko lagi na parang mag-jump ako into a supervisory position.
Right.
It's more of your integrity, no? If you wanna handle a team, kailangan mag-trust sila sa'yo that you know how it happens sa baba.
Kailangan alam mo lahat or na-experience
So
mo
it's
lahat.
just me. Ako lang naman.
No, that's a good mindset to have, I guess.
Every time, I think in the past 14 years nga, all of the programs I've joined are always pilot programs. Hindi ko naman expect na magiging successful. Try nga lang to. I think we started 27 FTEs back in 2022. Itong project na hawak ko, we've grown it to 200 FTEs now.
Galing, no?
It's been
For
doing
someone na 4 years pa lang dito. I guess, maganda talaga yung resume mo. Maybe you have good work ethics. Kaya. Pero ang dami kasi nating
It's
kababayan
hard work,
dito.
you know?
Di ba? You know how sinasabi ng mga tao na pag pumupunta sila dito, lagi silang start over. Kaya rin, well, a good example is my parents. Ayaw talaga nila dito. Kaya mag-isa ako dito. Dahil hindi nila kayang iwanan yung career or yung status nila sa Philippines.
Correct.
Kasi dito, hindi sila... nung pumunta yung mom ko rito, McDonald's lang yung work niya. And hindi niya kaya. And sobrang dami ko narinig na stories na gano'n, na iniiwan lahat sa Philippines. Pagdating dito, work sa warehouse. Dahil hindi makuha yung same job, yung trabaho nila. Nade-depress.
I think one of the examples na I learned, like my uncle who's in Calgary, he's a doctor back in the Philippines. Pero pagdating niya dito, hindi naman siya doktor eh. Nagsimula siya sa hospital na nagtutulak ng wheelchair.
Grabe, no?
Imagine mo yung downgrade.
Oo, di ba?
But you gotta do what you gotta do, right? Pag tulak siya ng wheelchair, kailangan niya muna and di ba ang higpit kasi ng Canada eh. Kailangan mo ng certifications. You need to study. So, study siya ulit. Medtech siya and doctor back in the Philippines. So, I think took him a while para ma-realize na, I can't be like this. So, nag-aral siya ulit. Ano siya ng licensure niya for medical technology. Then, he's a medical technologist now. Yung ulit sa Canada. But you see the downgrade from being a doctor to...
And hindi lahat ng tao kaya yun. And kailangan talaga mental toughness eh. Yun yung natutunan ko over the years and from hearing a lot of stories din kasi.
hindi naman ako when I started, sabi ko nga sa'yo, I was a frontliner. My partner, hindi siya sanay sa hirap sa buhay. Sobrang comfortable ng buhay niya sa Pilipinas. Pero kinailangan niya mag-work sa retail, na kailangan niyang nakatayo for 4 hours every after school, di ba? Kasi we have to sustain.
Yeah.
We didn't come here, I think, hindi naman kami pumunta dito na hindi namin pinaghandaan. We came here, meron kami pinaghandaan namin yung budget, na something that will make us survive for a year, na hindi kami magde-depend sa auntie niya.
Right.
Na hindi kami yung tipong kahit hindi kami magtrabaho for a year, nakakayanin namin. Pero syempre, isip mo din, it's part of the journey. So nag-retail siya, nag-Uber ako, Kyle. Nag-deliver ako ng Uber. Kasi
Uber
during
Eats,
that time, first 6 months of my employment, sabi ko nga sa'yo, I was a frontliner. And since part-time lang yung partner ko, sabi ko, may pera tayo, pero hindi pwedeng kailangan meron tayong pumapasok. So, may pagbayad tayo ng tuition fee mo, although meron na talagang nakaprepare, alam mo yan? So sabi ko, try ko mag-Uber. Try ko kaya mag-Uber delivery. Nag-Instacart ako. At one point, sabi ko nung na-promote na ako, umiyak talaga ako sa kanya. Sabi ko, imagine mo yun, ganito pala yung buhay ng delivery driver. Ganito pala yung buhay na paakyatin ka ng customer mo sa 11th floor tapos hindi man lang magbibigay ng tip.
Hindi magbibigay ng
Alam mo yan,
tip.
sabi ko, ay nako, sabi ko nga, pag Mississauga yung delivery, i-reject ko yan. Kasi usually, di ba, mga buildings sa Mississauga, yung bihira ako mapunta talaga sa residential area, lagi sa high-rise yung mga order. Yun, pinagbuhat na ako lahat ng grocery at ang lamig ng snow, tapos hindi wala magbibigay ng tips. Sama ng loob ko. Pero like, I have to bear with it. It's part of the journey. Sabi ko nga, iniyakan ko siya. Sabi nga, na-promote ako. Sabi ko, hindi ko talaga akalain na kailangan kong gawin to. Pero it's very humbling.
Yeah.
Na sabi ko nga, we're living a very privileged life in the Philippines, and then you gotta start over ng parang just like everybody else, which I think I appreciate about Canada. Hindi ko ramdam kung sino mayaman o mahirap dito, parang pantay-pantay tayo.
Maliit yung gap between mayaman and mahirap. And ang ganda ng pagkakasabi mo about yung humbling experiences. I think in a way, minsan napupunta tayo, I feel like napupunta tayo sa situation na ganun kasi parang tinuturuan tayo.
Yeah.
'Di ba? Meron tayong kailangan matutunan. At maybe hindi ito yung kasi hindi natin alam yung side na yun, or parang ano ba, way ni God na ituro sa atin yung mga bagay na kailangan natin matutunan kasi never pa natin na experience.
Tama.
And naniniwala ako na parang kaya mo kailangan ma-experience yun is kung ano man yung matututunan mo dun is kailangan mo sa future mo.
Sobrang siya, sabi ko nga, it's a humbling experience, and it's also parang learning. Kasi sa Philippines, dito ko talaga nasabi na, totoo pala yung, yung work-life balance.
Yeah.
In the Philippines, isa sa mga naalala ko was, sabi ko, I work in the call center operations in the Philippines. Sobrang na-appreciate kapag nag-OT ka, and I was already a supervisor, so I don't get paid for OT. Yun yung part ng when you get promoted eh. If you work until dahil baliktad nga yung oras, so I work until 11 in the morning, nasa office pa ako, kita nila, nagpalit na yung shift, nandyan pa rin ako, nagkape-kape ng Starbucks dyan. Pero pinapalakpakan ka dahil nag-overwork ka, and then you come back the next day. Balik ulit, alas 9, trabaho ka ulit. Dito, alas 5 pa lang, alas 5 na pa. Sarado yung laptop, wala na akong gagawin. Bahala kayo dyan. Bukas tayo mag-uusap. At pag sinabi ng boss ko na ang deadline mo ay today, ang sagot ko sa kanya, it can't be done. I'm gonna do it first hour tomorrow, or magbibigay ako ng timeline, which I can't do in the Philippines. Sa Philippines, may write up ka ng boss mo just because you didn't meet the deadline.
Yeah.
But here, yun nga sa work-life balance and how I managed to do Uber after 5 p.m., I'm done. Kasi half of the week, I'm working from home. Pahinga ako ng mga 30-40 minutes. Pagpatak na ng alas 6, okay, nasa kotse na ako, drive na ako, on ko na yung Uber ko para mag-accept na ng orders. And then I work until 11 and then still come back home nang parang hindi naman ako pagod dahil nga parang walang traffic.
Yeah. Hindi ka gaya sa atin.
I think yun yung walang traffic na hindi ka masyadong pagod. So sabi ko nga na nalalaman mo pa rin yung difference ng oras na trabaho ka at yung oras na dapat para sa sarili mo.
Paano mo na ano yun? Paano ka naka-adjust sa ganun na kasi sa Philippines parang ganun yung norm eh. Parang mag-work ka, gusto ka nilang magstay na matagal, mas okay.
Yun yung iniwan ko sa Pilipinas.
Oh, di ba?
When I went here, Kyle, I mean, it's still abnormal for me to say no to my boss. And then like kong nire-remind yung sarili ko, Alex, nasa Canada ka na. Hindi na katulad sa Pilipinas na actually yung una sabi ko, try ko nga. Sabi ko, try ko nga kung effective, kung gagana ba siya. Kasi sa Pilipinas, pag nagpaalam ako, ay, kailangan sabihin ng boss, kailangan tapos mo yan ng ganito, ganyan. Syempre doon, sobrang fast-paced pa rin naman yung work environment. Pero dito, try ko nga, kung magagalit sila. Hindi.
Wala nagagalit.
Ang galit. Tapos, may sakit ako, sama ng pakiramdam ko sa Pilipinas. Alam mo ito, sobrang sama lang naman talaga. Just wanna share dun sa mga hindi masyadong aware sa setup ng BPO. Pagyuhan tayo sa Pilipinas, bahain. Baha. Sabihin namin, oy, nasaan ka ba? Nasa Caloocan po ako, hindi ako makasakay ng ganito. Kasi, baha. O sige, magpapadala kami ng van dyan. Susunduin ka namin or meron kaming pick up point kung saan and then we have naman syempre pampalubag loob, mag-set up kami ng Starbucks sa loob ng production floor. There's popcorn, there's beanbag. I mean, they feel comfortable, but it's not ideal.
Yeah, right.
Diba? Oo nga, parang sinusuklian mo lang, pero yung alam mo naman talaga na life and death scenario, paanohin mo pa sa babat because in call center, there are different billings. Like, meron kang tinatawag na by login hours. Diba? So, kung ang expected login hours mo for a day, for example, is 100 hours. Pag kulang ka, magpupul ka talaga ng tao or i-OT mo. Dito, wala. Sabi ko, ay, masakit po ulo ko. Take care. Alam mo yung ganon?
Yeah.
And when I got promoted, I have to learn how to do it too. Kasi before, nagsabi sa akin sa Pilipinas, may sakit po ako, may paracetamol sa clinic.
Kasi naging boss ka din in a way.
May paracetamol sa clinic. Masakit yung ulo ko, okay lang yan, ganyan. May nurse naman tayo kung kaya mo naman. Alam mo yun, parang i-gaslight mo pa. Baka kaya mo lang naman. Hindi mo naman sabihin na pumasok ka. Pero diyo may sakit na ako, sige, wag ka pumasok ka.
Pero paano mo siya na Kasi parang yun muscle memory ba? Kasi nga ganun yung norm. Ngayon, ikaw na may higher position ka, you handle employees. Kailangan mong hindi maging parang Pilipino na boss.
Oo. It's a lot of unlearning. Oo, minsan nire-remind ko lagi yung sarili ko, nasa Canada ka. Baka ma-report ka sa ministry.
Pwede, no?
Yun talaga, ko lagi. Kasi sa Pilipinas, na-experience ko yung NLRC, kung saan correct me if I'm wrong sa mga viewers natin. Hindi ko sure kung NLRC. But I know a lot of people, call center BPO employees would complain sa NLRC. Diyan sa may Banawe ata yung office nila, if I remember it right. Pero walang nare-resolve.
Ano ang NLRC? Sorry, hindi.
So, dyan yung parang ng protection ng mga laborers.
Oh.
For all types of employees naman in the Philippines. Kung may reklamo ka na hindi kayang i-resolve ng kumpanya mo, may union kayo, hindi na nare-resolve. So, doon nila dinadaan. Para siyang under the umbrella of DOLE.
Right. But do they actually do something?
I think there are cases na nananalo sila. Like meron yung mga unjustified terminations.
Pero hindi siya kasing extreme ng dito.
Hindi dito.
Diba?
Kaya, kasi dito, sa office namin mismo, I think it's a requirement of the ministry to post. So, na-post kung meron kang existing na case, nakalagay, ano yung proceedings na nangyayari. So ako sabi ko, shit. Sorry for the word. Ayokong ma-post yung pangalan ko dyan. Very cautious ako. Sabi ko, lagi ko nire-remind sarili ko, ibang work culture dito and nasa Canada ka na. Yun yung lagi kong nasa isip.
How would you describe or how would you share or paano mo makikwento yung mga natutunan mo coming from the Philippines to Canada?
Paano ko siya makikwento or ano yung natutunan ko talaga na dito parang some people are struggling to change their ways talaga do they say it assimilation or whatsoever? I forgot the word. I'm trying to get the right word.
Yun ba yung tama? Pero for sure, maraming habits na talagang ina-unlearn.
Oo, like ang dami talagang habits na ina-unlearn ko. Like here talagang I show up on time. Sa Philippines kasi may rason na kaya magsasabi, traffic. Ito yan, isa yan sa mga experience ko. Kaya I cannot tell my boss na, traffic or whatsoever, kasi dito yung GO train naman, nakikita nila kung may delay.
Naka-schedule.
Ang hirap mong gumawa ng palusot. So, sa akin, di ba, merong mga apps na nagsasabi anong oras dadating yung bus, anong oras gagalaw yung train. So, kung magkakalkulado mo na lahat, nasa sayo talaga yun. So, ngayon dito na talagang I show up on time. Always on time. Rarely ako nalilate. Kung meron talagang hindi ko siya
talagang
ma-prevent.
may nangyari talaga.
Oo, may nangyari talaga. Nagkaroon ng banggaan dyan or whatsoever. Yun, yung mga ganung bagay na...
Bakit sa Philippines ba? Pwede ka malate? Sorry, never kasi ako nakapag-work sa Philippines. So,
I
hindi
know.
ko alam.
Naisip ko, I'll tell you a story. One time, ang call time is 6 p.m. I need to attend a BPO conference in EDSA Shangri-La. Was it EDSA Shangri-La or Makati Shangri-La? No, Makati Shangri-La, sa may SM. Call time is 6 p.m. In-assume ko makakarating ako talaga ng 6 p.m. Kasi sabi ko may MRT naman. Hindi na ako nag-taxi. Alam ko talagang matatalo ako pa magta-taxi ako kasi traffic sa EDSA. Nag-MRT na ako niyan na wala naman traffic ang train. Pero sa dami ng tao, bumabagal, hindi pa rin tama yung oras, pawis na pawis ka. So, na-late ako. Late pa rin ako sa appointment ko. Pero dito kasi, at hindi ako pwede magpalusot. I could have done better sa time management ko. Yun naman ganun. Pero dito, it's so transparent na hindi ka pwede, na parang even your friends, hindi ka makapagpalusot kasi they have visibility. Alam mo yung gano'n? Yun yung naano ko lang talaga.
Kapag ganun ba, kasi hindi ko talaga na-experience. Ganda, naalala ko lang, balik ako lang yung sinabi mo kanina about, na sinabi mo nga, kunyari may bagyo, hindi ka makapasok. Magpapadala sila ng van para sunduin ka. They actually do that in the Philippines para lang mag-work ka.
Oh. Even if you're no call no show ka for a couple of days, we would send somebody for to deliver the return to work order. Just so to learn, ano ba talaga nangyari? Buhay ka pa ba? Alam mo yung ganun. The company needs to find out anyway.
Grabe,
bakit hindi ka nagpaparamdam? I mean, in Canada, we do return to work order din naman. Pero it's not like
hindi ka
hard
extreme.
push. Bahala sa buhay mo, no show ka. Di mamark ka na lang namin na hindi ka namin i-rehire.
Marami nga, talaga nawawala na lang Tapos hindi na hinahanap ng company.
Bahala sa buhay mo, di ba? Yun lang, pangat yung record mo. Ganun yung ganun.
Pero bakit sila ganun sa Philippines? Why do you think ganun sila compared sa dito na hindi naman ganun ka-extreme?
Ang hirap nga balansehin kasi dito sabi nilang, ang hirap daw makahanap ng trabaho sa Canada. Mas mahirap makahanap ng trabaho sa Pilipinas. Kasi you're competing with people na may degree, 'di ba? Tapos very limited yung opportunity. But it varies din naman kasi sa industry. Like in our industry sa BPO, kasi sabi ko nga sa'yo, we bill our clients by login hours. So, may penalties pa yan for service level agreements. Kapag hindi namin nami-meet yung threshold, we are losing revenue. So, chinecheck namin lahat yung possibilities na may buffer ba kami, paano namin mako-compensate yung lost hours, yung mga ganun. Sometimes it's inhumane, but it's the reality of the BPO industry in the Philippines. Poor planning, I would say, sometimes. But it's inevitable nga yung sabi ko may mga natural calamities, so you just have to find ways. I mean, ganun.
So, masasabi mo ba na parang blessing talaga na nandito ka na sa sitwasyon ngayon sa Canada?
Oh, yeah. Sobra. I would say. And even if we are, I'm part of the LGBTQ community, I would also, sabi, how do you reconcile being gay and at the same time being very religious?
Are you religious, if you don't mind me asking?
I would say, I'm very faithful.
Okay.
Diba? Kasi at some point in my life, I have to rediscover my faith. And there are a couple of instances na, sabi ko, there are, yung sinasabi nilang God works in mysterious ways.
Ano ba ang religion mo?
I'm a Roman Catholic.
Okay.
And I'm the only Roman Catholic in my immediate family. My whole family are Protestant Christians. So I have to rediscover my faith at some point.
Pwede ko ba i-ask? Sorry, hindi ko lang maiwasan kasi I hope you don't mind. Ano yung opinion mo sa mga sinasabi ni Alvin Aragon sa social media? Naalala ko lang kasi...
I have a parang I posted. I don't know kung paano ko siya explain. Baka may mga magalit sa akin. Pero I'm just gonna be true to this. My parents got converted to Protestantism kasi when I was 12 years old. So I don't think 12 years old technically is considered age of accountability sa Christianity. Ibig sabihin, the person can already decide about their faith. I don't think it was the right time for me. But social media wasn't there during that time. I'll tell you a story. So, the pastor who we were very close with, in-ingrain niya sa utak ko that the only source of truth is the King James Version of the Bible. And all the while, and I was studying in a Catholic school from elementary to high school, I would even argue with my friends. Sabi ko, no, your Bible has other books. Pero ito ang totoo. And then when came social media, before you have to go to libraries to learn about history, you have social media, you have documentaries on YouTube. And then I learned, yung King James Version pala dahil sa Reformation ng Great Britain at kaya siya nangyari dahil naghiwalay si King Henry at saka si Catherine of Aragon. And then kaya pala siya nangyari dahil gusto niyang pakasalan si Anne Boleyn. So nagkaroon ng split ang Catholicism and the Church of England na ginawa nila, which would allow divorce. So that's why I kind of learned yung mga truths na hindi lahat ng finifeed sa'yo ay tama. Which gave me an opportunity, sabi ko nga sa'yo, to rediscover my faith. And don't get me wrong, sa akin naman kasi, it's not about religion. I still get that point for Protestantism or Christianity when they say it's about your relationship with your God.
Yes.
Which I firmly and faithfully believe in. Kasi, kahit na namang sabihin nila kung if you don't build that relationship with the Lord, edi wala din. And there are a lot of times where I would say na, sabi nga, God work in mysterious ways. One time, sobrang pagod ko sa trabaho in the Philippines. I was driving in EDSA. I don't even remember how I got into Ortigas Extension. Tulog ako. And then, bumangga ako sa concrete barrier.
Okay.
Walang nangyari sa kotse ko, walang gas-gas yung kotse ko, kumakatok na lang yung MMDA sa akin. Diyan sa mismong, if you know EDSA Shrine, if you're familiar, tapos may papunta ng pa right side dito sa, I think, Julia Vargas or what have you. Kinakatok na ako ng MMDA kasi bumangga nga ako. I was just holding, nakita ko, hawak ko yung rosary ng sasakyan ko and then there's a Christian song playing and sabi ko, it's saved me.
Ang galing, no? Habang nagda-drive ka,
hindi ko maalala. I was telling my boss about it the next day na hindi ko alam kung paano ako nakarating sa sobrang pagod ko. So, alam mo yung ganun. Sabi ko, faith is relationship.
Ganda ng ano na yun. And with...
Gagawin style, bigla na punta tayo sa religion sa usapan.
Hindi, okay siya. Kasi Alvin Aragon kasi.
Oo, kasi kaya ko sabi ni Alvin Aragon, ganito, mga bakla, pupunta kayo sa hell.
Oo.
Minsan sumasagot to. Every time na may nambabash ng mga bakla or whatsoever sa social media, ang sinasabi ko lang is, balikan natin, who are you to judge? Sabi nga ni Pope Francis. And minsan nagiging sarcastic. O sige, kita-kita na lang tayo sa impyerno. Alam mo yon? Kita-kita na lang tayo sa dagat-dagatang apoy, Alvin. Comment ata ako ng ganon. I don't think it's right for him to say that.
Pero why do you think, with your, obviously, you're a believer and you studied the word, and he claims that he is, I think pastor pa yata siya or along the way. Bakit nagiging gano'n ng mga tao?
It's my problem with theology kasi ang pare, sabi ko nga, I don't know how long kung paano ka magiging pastor. Ano ba yung process ng pagiging pastor? What I do know from people I knew or I met in the past would take them 2 years and they graduate from theology colleges or what have you. Ba't naging pare ka, hindi nga lang yan hindi lang parang college.
Parang buong
Natapos ka
buhay
ng
mo.
It's like you took 4 years of college, you get into masteral, and then you get into doctorate. Some of them would even go to Rome to study further their studies like canon law. Like I have relatives who are monsignors. They went to Rome para mag-study ng canon law. Alam mo yung ganon ka-extensive yung knowledge nila sa Christianity and even what do you call this? Kung ano yung term na ginagamit. Pero if ikaw lang nagbasa ka lang ng Bible, ako din naman may interpretation ako ng Bible. Pwede ko naman basahin, and then I realized nga 1 point sabi niya, yung 10 commandments. Where did 10 commandments come from? And I was listening to a podcast of an evangelical and a Catholic, and they both agreed na wala naman sinabi sa Bible na it's 10 commandments. It's us who formulated the 10 commandments. The words were there, but it wasn't very specific that it's 10 commandments. It's a book of commandments. Alam mo yung gano'n?
Yeah.
So, sabi kung si Alvin, ilang taon na ba siya?
40s na yata.
Siguro ako nag-aral talaga extensive yung kanyang pag-aaral ng theology. Then maybe he could justify kung ano yung mga sinasabi niya.
Pero my thing is well, una, papuntahan ko muna yung pagkakasabi mo about interpretation. Born again Christian din ako. And nagkaroon ako ng madaming paigsiin ko na lang. Feeling ko isa ako dun sa mga naka-experience ng na-fail ako ng Christian Institute, but not by faith.
Correct.
It's by the people na kasama ko. And nagkaroon ako ng maraming arguments with a lot of Christians about sa kay God, sa Bible and all that. Pero ang realization ko, pag tinitignan ko outside the box, lahat yun, is, yun nga, sabi mo may kanya-kanya tayong interpretation. Minsan kasi, ang Christians, they tend to, ang sabi kasi sa atin, we go out there, share the word, magdala tayo ng tao sa church. And so, marami akong nakausap na ganun. The problem is with me, kaya yun nga, with interpretation is parang, siguro yung narinig na teaching ng Christian, kung ano man yun, kung bakit ganun yung pag-iisip niya, tama. I'm not gonna question yung teaching na narinig niya. Ang mali is yung interpretation niya and yung application niya sa buhay. Yun yung parang nakikita ko na hindi aware yung maraming tao.
Takes a lot of wisdom, sabi nga nila, and guidance of the Holy Spirit. O, diba? May ganun na tayong usapan.
And then dahil nga feeling nila sobrang knowledgeable sila sa Word of God and Bible, akala nila tama na sila. So parang ito yung mga unaware na self-righteous ba?
In the same with Catholics too, di ba? Sometimes we get too aggressive saying that we are the one true Catholic faith or the one true church. I honestly don't care kung saang church ka belong. But are you a good, found basic na lang. Mabuti ka bang tao? Nagnanakaw ka ba? Pumapatay ka ba? Or nagsisinungaling ka ba? Alam mo gano'n. If you're a good person, kahit anong religion mo, doesn't matter. Yun lang sa akin.
And ako naman, going back dun sa case ni Alvin Aragon, I get yung point. Siguro, whatever it is na inaral niya. Yeah. Pero I think sharing that needs to come with love. Yun yung turo. Hindi siya...
I think he's also kasi... Meron din kasi for Christians to say sometimes kailangan ng ibang tao ng palo. And sometimes yung palo na yon kailangan masakit para maramdaman nila. But
I think may balance pa rin siya, or
everything has evolved now, Kyle, 'di ba? Even how we talk, hindi naman tayo pwedeng mumura-mura na lang diyan or whatsoever kasi yes, there's the intent, but how is your message paano ba yun? Paano ba mag-translate yung message mo?
Paano magbabayin yung tao? Paano mo siya ma-share across? Paano?
Kung yung ganyan yung approach ni Alvin, sabi nga natin hindi, siguro may punto ka, pero number one, paano mo break yung echo chamber? Siguro. And then second is, paano, instead na i-push mo sila palayo, how do you embrace them papunta sa'yo?
Yeah.
There's always a parang effective way of communicating.
Yeah, yun nga, yun yung missing sa kanya na nakikita ko. Pero I understand where he's coming from.
He could be an effective evangelist or pastor.
Anyways, magpupunta nga tayo sa topic na yan. Balikan lang natin is yung puntahan natin yung your content creation life.
Creation journey.
Kasi kanina kinikwento mo yung buhay mo about sa Philippines. With everything that you're doing, your busy life with your career, paano pumasok dun yung content creation mo?
This is funny. You know Jamil?
Jamil, yeah. Yung couple na.
They're very famous. For some reason, prior to them creating contents, my YouTube channel was already called Buhay Mandirigma.
Oh, okay. Yun yung tawag nila sa fans nila Mandirigma,
sabi
di ba?
ko Mandirigma. And then sabi ng sister ko, your Facebook, your YouTube says Buhay Mandirigma. Alam mo na may content creator na sikat, tapos mga Mandirigma ang tawag. Talaga? Gaya-gaya naman yan, sabi ko. Sabi ng ate ko, kapal mo, wala kang follow, wala kang subscriber, sila gaya-gaya. Sabi ng ate ko, and they're making money ha, sabi ng ate ko. Talaga, may pera pala dyan. Kasi ikaw post ka lang ng post ng random videos, pakat pa ng editing mo, sabi ng ate ko sa akin. Wala naman, kasi sabi ko, I'm using my YouTube as a repository of memories lang, para kung meron ako malagay na video. Pero I kept the Buhay Mandirigma thing. So yun yung pangalan ko for a long time, just as repository for thing. And then came the pandemic, just like everybody else. One time, sabi ko, ano ba ito itsura ng mga taon to sa TikTok? Bakit ang gagwapo at ang gaganda nila? Hindi ko alam yung filter. Kaya mong aminin, hindi ko alam filter pala yun. So, sabi ng partner ko, filter yan. Hindi yun, ganito ba? Try ko sabi ko na cute ko pala kapag may filter. Sabi ko, kaya pala sila gumaganda yung mga ilong nila.
Kumikinis yung mukha.
Kumikinis yung mukha, ang ganda. Sabi ko, ang cute ko pala, so pwede ko pala para to kay Belo to. Nagtatawanan kami ng partner ko. So I met like a group of 4 people who are doing contents on YouTube. If you know Masahe King, si Alvi, you guys can follow him on YouTube. He's big now. Ang ginagawa niya is nagpapapasahe lang siya.
Ano pangalan niya?
Masahe King.
Masahe King yung pangalan ng channel niya.
Si Alvi, na friend ko. Na-meet ko through internet din. Sabi niya, YouTube, ganyan, gawa tayong content, ganyan. Mag-watch to watch tayo para meron tayong, may views. Ganun pala yun, para makapagsimula. And then, sabi ko, Alvi, wala naman nanonood sa atin, para tayo lang nanonood. Hindi pa siya Masahe King nun, ha? Bago, yung Masahe King, nahanap niya yung kiliti na audience niya, Ang goal lang naman namin, kasi Alvi, ang goal lang natin, makuha natin yung YouTube na plaque. Maka 100K.
Silver play.
Came the pandemic, sabi ko nga, na medyo parang bored lahat ng mga tao, and then I created contents. Ang mga una kong mga contents were, I'm very kapamilya, sorry po sa mga kapuso. So binabash ko ang mga shows ng GMA. Sabi ko, pwede pala yun Nabash ko lang, sinabi ko lang na parang walang kwenta yung palabas ng KMJS. Although I'm a very fan of, a big fan of Jessica Soho. Yung episode na yun, talagang chararat para sa akin. Tapos sinabi ko na nagalit sila sa akin. Umabot ng 500.
Yung mga tao?
Oo, 500,000 yung views. Ganun pala. Sabi ko sa ate ko, ganun pala yung YouTube, At yung content creation, Kapag napipikon yung mga tao, ang dami mong nanonood. And sige, gawa-gawa lang ako ng content. Kino-compare ko lang kung anong trending sa TikTok kapag Sunday. Kino-compare ko ang trending ng ASAP at trending ng Party Pilipinas during that time. Ganon. And then,
Party Pilipinas? Tagal na nun Hindi pa
parang nag-aanuhan sila. And then, eto na nga, nanggaling, ganun lang siya. And okay siya, my Facebook wasn't monetized, but maabot ng 1 million yung views. And nakakatawa. And then, galing kami ng Canada, umuwi kami ng Pilipinas, sumabog ang Taal, nagka-lockdown dahil sa pandemic, as in sunod-sunod yung pangyayari. And then, nagko-comment lang ako tungkol sa mga pangyayari.
About the pandemic.
How could we be more effective sa pag-handle sana. Minsan napipikon ako kay ex-president na inaabangan ko kung papasok ba ako sa office o hindi dahil mamaya alas 11 pa siya ng gabi mag-a-announce. Alam mo yung ganon. And then, yun na, yung commentaries ko about how the pandemic was handled in the Philippines. Started it all.
Okay.
Na nakilala na ako na parang, hello, Ibanagans, kung nasika mo, yun, gano'n. Sabi kasi ng friend ko, alam mo, hindi video ka ng video, dapat meron kang sinasabi na para matandaan ka nila. Sabi ko, hello, Ibanagans, kung nasika mo. So, yun yung naging, ayan na siya.
Tagline
ko hanggang sa, we started like there's 10 of us who met each other online. we were going live on TikTok was a thing.
Starting pa lang.
During that time, nagsisimula na may nanonood sa amin. Nagkikipag-debate lang kami. Parang si Mami Grace lang yan dati. I think nag-rebrand na si Mami Grace. Mabait na siya. Pero yung mga ganun yun na kumbaga, exchange lang kayo ng ideas, and then came the elections, came the pink campaign. And so, like, I could use my voice.
So, dyan pumasok ang political vlogging mo.
Oo.
Parang nahanap mo yung niche mo, I guess.
Sabi ko na. And then, my political vlogging were, during the pink campaign, wasn't even politika-politika eh. It's more of just campaigning for Lenny. Why Lenny? Yun. Or why not Bongbong? Bakit si Lenny ang dapat niyong piliin? And then nakapag-build ako ng community, and then met new friends, and umabot naman kahit papano ng 70K followers. Okay, pero I never monetize my account until I came to Canada.
Buong time sa Philippines?
The whole time. You know, the reason why I never monetize my account, although I've been prompted, which I regret. Sabi ko na parang dapat pala minonetize ko.
Sayang yun,
Una pa lang kasi isang post ko lang dati umabot ng 1 million views. Hindi ko siya minonetize kasi nag-stand ako doon kasi sinasabi na bayaran yan si Ibanag.
Kasi pwede ka ma-label as paid political vlogger. Which is naging issue din yan.
Kaya ini-screenshot ko yan and I'm showing them my page is not monetized. Pinapakita ko sa inyo, hindi monetize yung account ko. Kasi gusto kong malaman nila na I'm doing this because I feel like it's part of me as a Filipino to stand for something. First, to stand for good governance and all. And that's just how I saw it. And when I came to Canada, pwede na. Wala naman na
wala ka na dun no? Pero can I ask you, I hope you don't mind me asking, kasi na-share mo nga about, naging issue kasi yan yung mga paid political vloggers in the Philippines. Anong opinion mo sa ganun?
Sa akin kasi, I don't mind if you're paid. But you get paid to do what's right. Just like if you're a newscaster, your job is to report. But if you're being paid to spread fake news or propaganda,
kasi yun or a politician is paying the vlogger to promote them.
Yung mga ganon.
And then yung vlogger na yun, meron nga parang hindi naman yun yung totoong paniniwala niya, pero dahil bayad siya, he has to.
Just like the artistas na nagpapakita sa kampanya, di ba? May mga ganon. It's part of their job to entertain. I don't judge them. Pero sa akin kasi, when you're a content creator, and I always say this, even to my colleagues, there are 3 I's that I follow, and I learned this from my very first employment. Integrity, intensity, and intellect. Pero pinaka-importante sa akin yung integrity. Alam mo sa sarili mo that you're doing it right and you're not doing it because may part of you na masasacrifice. Yun yung ko. Sa akin, kung ginagawa nila yon because kailangan nila ng pera, gawin nyo. Pero akin naman may balik.
I guess in that sense, hindi mo rin masisi kung kailangan ng pera. Diba? Pera din yun. Trabaho din yun di ba? Sa hirap ng buhay sa Philippines.
Trabaho pa rin naman yun.
Di ba?
It's the same as, para ba tawag dito? Gina-judge nila another hot topic before on X or on Twitter. Like, gina-judge nila mga, even the pandemic, yung sex workers or OnlyFans. Sa akin kasi trabaho yun So, bakit nyo sila judge? Hindi naman kayo nagpapakita ng katawan.
Kumbaga, nakahanap sila ng way para sila kumita.
Para makakita. Yun lang, sabi ko nga, iba-iba kasi tayo ng values. And ako, I intend and I strongly believe na kung may gagawin ako sa social media, kasi yun yung values ko. Yun yung paniniwala ko. So, hindi ko siya isa-sacrifice. Halimbawa, bigyan ko na lang ng example ngayon. Why, like someone like me who campaigned for Leni Robredo in 2022 now supports the government who is being managed by somebody I campaigned against.
Kalaban ni Leni.
Ni Leni. Because at the end of the day, sa akin kasi ang belief ko, after the elections, tapos na election, tapos na yung politika, may nakaupo
one nation na tayo.
May nakaupo na dyan. And for me, even if I'm in Canada, I'm still paying tax. I have properties in the Philippines. My sisters have businesses in the Philippines. We contribute sa taxes. So if the taxes aren't utilized properly, then bakit pa nagbayad ng tax? Alam mo ganun. So I kind of feel the need to also speak up. Pero yun nga, sabi ko, nakaupo si Bongbong. So I see it na I have to be supportive kasi if the government fails, it's also the failure of the whole country. That's just how I see it. Even naman during the time of Duterte, sabi nga ng partner ko, siguro DDS ka, no? Sabi ng partner ko sa akin. Sabi ko, I'm not DDS. I just support the good things that I see na ginagawa ni Presidente Duterte. But I also feel I also feel I have to speak up when something's wrong.
Pag hindi,
Oo, ganun lang naman yun. That's how I see it as a political content. Kaya content creator. Kaya when you, sabi nga nila, I'm being bashed on social media ngayon. Kasi sabi ko nga sa'yo, I started creating political contents again. Sabi nila, bakit lagi mo tinitira si Sara Duterte? Sabi ko, hindi ko siya tinitira. Kung meron kayong nakikita na gagawin ni Sara na maganda, ilatag nyo dyan, then I can create contents about it. Alam mo yung ganon?
Yeah.
So, that's just how I see it.
So parang dinidiscuss mo lang naman ito yung nakikita mo and paano mo na-interpret or how, yung paniniwala mo din. Wala ka naman sinisiraan di ba?
Oo, di ba? Magsisira ko, sabihin ko na tulad ng ibang content creators, di ba? The hot topic in the Philippines right now. Sabi nila may stage 4 cancer si Bongbong Marcos at nasa St. Luke's daw siya. Bakit nandun sa araw ng kagitingan nasa ano ba yun yung malaking cross sa Bataan? I forgot the name of the monument. Nandun siya nag-speech naman. So, yan ba may stage 4 cancer? Wag naman ganun, di ba?
I don't wanna hindi naman sa hindi kasi ako masyadong nag-go through into
politics.
Politics. And that's just my own personal choice. Pero move on tayo kasi yung journey mo from Philippines as you have a big following as a content creator coming into Canada, kasi sabihin ko na rin sa camera, nung pumunta ka ng Canada, iniwan mo si Ibanag in the City, gumawa ka ng Ibanag in Canada.
Yeah.
Kamusta yun?
I'll tell you one story kung bakit ako nag-transition. I can be very honest and candid about it. My partner told me, sabi niya, kapag hindi ka tumigil sa pagko-content creator mo ng politics, maghiwalay na lang tayo. Sabi niya, we just got married. Kakakasal lang namin. We got married in December 16 of 2022.
Ay, wait. Ayaw niya ng political vlogging?
No. Not that he doesn't want. Parang sa akin lang, sabi niya, we're in Canada, let's start fresh, no? Ang stressful na lang, stress ka na nga sa Pilipinas. Ang dami mong effort sa Pink campaign, pero di ka naman nanalo. So, he joined me, He never joined me in any of the rallies, pero when he felt that he needs to show up, he joined me din naman. Pero hinayaan niya ako to do things. Pero when we moved to Canada nga, sabi niya, mag-switch ka na, tigil na yung politics na yan, hiwalayan kita. So me being a very obedient and I'm very submissive, not in a good way. Nag-away, di naman ako parang submissive. Sige, pagbibigyan kita. Okay, then I switched. I just started to do, kinalimutan ko na nga, nagko-content ako. I got too busy. Imagine mo, sabi ko, may oras ka pa ba mag-content? Mag-Uber na nga ako na mula alas 6 hanggang alas 11.
Pero ano yung naging image ni Ibanag in Canada? Ano yung content niya? Yung niche niya?
It's more of just buhay dito. Kwento-kwento. Anong buhay ko dito? Bakit ako umalis ng Pilipinas? I always tell them, hindi naman ako umalis ng Pilipinas dahil natalo si Lenny, Sabi ko, kasi sabi niya, umalis ka na ng Pilipinas kasi ganyan. Sabi ko, umalis ako ng Pilipinas kasi it's a 5-year plan. Sabi ko, from the time na naging kami, pinag-usapan na yun, di ba? Sabi ko sa beginning, willing ka ba mabuhay sa ibang bansa? Sabi ko, and it came, and if I can quickly share yung story, we were rejected 2 times, Kyle. First time na we came here, we decided na mag-apply. DIY lang naman namin. Try lang naman. Sige, tinry. Rejected. Second time, yung rejected pa sa part. Ba't mas stress ka pa sa akin na reject tayo? Ako nga yung nag-a-apply kasi nung nalaman namin na hindi, nakatulog na lang ako sa sobrang stress. Second time, we got rejected. Third time, we got approved. And I said it's very timely. What happened during campaign was very stressful. It's time to start. And then I started telling about our journey. At one point, I also nagla-live ako. I talked to them how to find jobs kasi lagi na lang sinasabi niya, hirap naman makaharap ng trabaho. Sabi ko, ayusin nyo kasi resume nyo. Yung mga ganun. So I kinda talked more about that, how to help others na who are also starting in Canada.
Kamusta naman yung reception ng mga tao sa bago mong content?
Actually, medyo sinasabi nila, na-miss na namin yung si Ibanag, kaya magsalita na ng ganito. Tapos pag gano'n, mamaya tayo mag-usap ng ganyan, dinadivert ko yung attention nila somewhere else. So yun, gano'n siya. Okay naman. Actually, naging 27K followers naman siya no nag-iba in Canada. Not as big as the other, but yeah.
Ano rin naman dito kasi kung Filipino audience mo, hindi naman ganun karami, di ba? Okay na din siya.
Sometimes you need to be very entertaining. Sabi nga ng partner ko, baka kailangan mo paano ba yun? Yung may certain accent sila na nag-video, papunta na dito. Yung ganun.
AI yata yun eh.
Hindi, sila talaga yung salita, alam mo yun? Yung parang i-voice over mo na parang nakakatawa yung baka kailangan gumanyan para pansinin ka.
Gets ko yung sinasabi mo.
Sabi ko, it's not my character. Ba't ko babago yung character ko? Di ka talaga sabi ng partner ko. Maybe we'll try one of these days, sabi ko.
Yung mga voice-over content creator na yun, ang asset nila is yung tono talaga tsaka boses nila eh.
Hindi ko kaya, sabi ko, kasi in something kasi sa iba ang tigas ng dila namin. Diba? Parang Ilocano din kami from the northern Philippines. Ang tigas ng dila namin. So parang hirap pa, hindi ko magawa. Parang gano'n.
You know, randomly weird. No, sorry, siningit ko lang. I've been hearing about you. Actually, not hearing. Lagi kang binabanggit sa akin ni Kuya Arsenio.
Arsenio's Kitchen.
Hindi ko alam bakit kanya laging binabanggit. Every time makikita kami, binabanggit kanya sa akin.
Kasi yun eh. Siyempre dahil nga bahagi siya ng, sabi ko nga, ng Pink Campaign on the political side, di ba? He was telling me, one time sabi niya, even he was my follower. Kasama namin siya, kasi bago pa yung content creation kami nila Alvi, sabi ko kasi Masahe King, doon ko siya nakilala. So bago pa ako nagpopolitika, magkakilala na kami sa social media.
Talaga?
Oo, yung YouTube and all, pinapanood ko yung mga videos niya. And then nagpunta ako dito ng Canada. Isa yun sa sinadya ko talaga. Pupuntahan ko yung paresam mo na yan. So pumunta ako nag-crave ng pares, pumunta, nakilala ko siya, kinuwento niya kung paano siya nagsimula, kung paano yung store niya, ganyan. Yun, napakabait na tao.
Bisitahin natin yan si Kuya. Mabait yan si Kuya. Shoutout pala sa'yo, hello.
Kuya Arsenio. Kuya Arsenio's Kitchen.
Hindi pa ako nakabisita, madalas siya nagme-message sa akin eh. Yun, every time talaga kahit saan kami magkita. Si Ibanag, ganyan, pumunta dito, ganyan, kailan mo i-guess? Ganun siya lagi. Parang,
kasi lagi siya, pag may event, bihira ko umattend ng mga events eh. Kasi parang sabi ko baka mamaya may mga kilala sa akin, yung mga nakaaway ko dati sa social media. Baka may saksakin ako dito, yung gano'n. Hindi ako uma-attend. Although sabi ko nasa Canada naman tayo. Mas malala naman sa Pilipinas. Pero alam mo yun, lagi siya nagsisend sa akin ng, may ganito sa Scarborough. May ganito sa Nathan Phillips. May ganito, pumunta ka. Ito ba nakakatawa? Lagi ko sabi, pupunta ako, pero never ako pupunta. Ang pinuntahan ko lang yung one time may event sa Scarborough last year, parang Filipino something I forgot kung saan yung lugar. Pero yun yung time na pag may mga events na mga Pilipino, mga very few events na pumupunta ako kasi nagka-crave ako ng pagkain. Yun. Hinayo siya yung una kong hinahanap. May pwesto ka ba? Okay, puntahan ka kasi bibili ako.
Nagustuhan mo naman ba yung food niya?
Yung kanyang pares ang talagang kinakain. Lagi ko lang hinahanap-hanap.
Wala, na-share ko lang kasi naalala ko si Kuya. Anyways, ito very cliche question. How do you, with your content creation or with everything that you're doing, how do you see yourself in the next few years?
Sa akin, I'm in a point right now where I'm trying to study. Inaaral ko siya. Sabi nga nila, you can build your brands. I don't think I'll be doing political content creator for all my life. Diba? Nasa Canada na ako eh. So, sabi ko nga, medyo, baka makahanap ako ng way na magkaroon ng breakthrough in Canadian setting, Canadian audience. I'm not very confident sa pag-speak ng English ng dire-diretso.
So masasabi mo na parang hinahanap mo pa yung niche mo?
Hinahanap ko pa siya.
In Canada.
Hindi ko pa siya nahahanap actually. Kasi kilala nga ako as political content creator. So transitioning to a new audience and even my style, yung paano ko ba siya gagawin, paano magsisimula, inaaral ko siya, Kyle. Kasi hindi pala siya ganun kadali. Diba ngayon with all of the technology and lahat ng ewan ko kung nafa-follow nyo si Pika Poo sa she's an Indian content creator. I followed her during the pandemic. Nag-move sila dito somewhere in 2019. She started naman na parang pocho naman ng editing and then she studied and then now she's with brands. Na tinatap na siya ni Google. Tinatap na siya ni Mazda. She left her full-time job. And I think nandun ako sa stage na I don't wanna be employed forever. Maybe meron ako makabuild ng brand and build your business and, and build on my strengths.
Galing nun. Ganda ng pagkakasabi mo. Ito, another cliche is what's one thing that you can leave our audience? A piece of advice na natutunan mo sa buhay mo, sa journey mo, through everything.
Huwag kang matakot. If you wanna do so, and sabi ko, I'm still trying to conquer that. If you see my contents, Kyle, and even the people na nakilala ako, sa bahay lang ako nagko-content.
Oo nga. Oo. Ito.
Takot akong magsalita outside. Pag naglalakad ako sa front street, tinatry ko but I get too conscious. But kung hindi ko siya gagawin, kailan ko siya gagawin? Might as well do it now.
Right.
I think there's one episode that you had, sabi niya, it's okay to cringe. Or,
oh, yeah.
Or makringe sila sa'yo. Kasi, ikaw naman yan. Diba? Kung hindi ko siya gagawin, kailan ko pa siya gagawin?
Tama.
Gawin ko na lang. Dahil ang pakialam sa kanila. Wala ka na lang pakialam sa kanila. You have to be mindful, siyempre. Pero kung anong sabihin ng ibang tao, makringe sila sa'yo, bahala sila. Huwag ka matakot. Kasi, I was 18 years old when I got bored from college and started working and studying at the same time. I was 19 years old when my company sent me to Costa Rica to help set up our office. Wala akong kilala sa Costa Rica, but imagine that hindi naman lahat ng bata tulad ko would have the same courage to do it. Be away from your family. Hindi ako natakot kasi sabi ko, gagawin ko siya kasi it may never happen again. Yun siguro yung gagawin, like ko sinasabi, gagawin ko siya, ay nagagalit yung partner ko kasi we're completely opposites. Siya is very organized. Kapag pupunta lang kami, tatawid kami ng Buffalo, na plano niya ang itinerary namin. Ako iba. Sabi ko, hindi, tatalon ako. Kung anong mangyari, then I learn from it.
So, hindi siya risk taker. Pero ikaw,
planado niya. Sabi ko, pati pagpunta namin dito, nagawa niya yung timeline. Even yung processing namin ng PR, wala ko alam. Sasabihin lang niya sa akin, ito na yung points natin. Because naplano niya.
Pero that makes a perfect, couple, partner. And alam ko, medyo overtime na tayo. Pero dahil, sorry kung overtime na kami. Pero gusto ko i-share kasi, ito isa sa mga pinaniniwalaan ko with choosing partners is yung comparable over compatible. Ang reason ko lang mabilis is, kapag same kayo, same din kayo ng weaknesses. Kapag inatake kayo sa weaknesses, hindi nyo kayang labanan.
Yeah.
Kapag comparable kayo, magkaiba kayo ng strengths and weaknesses, matutulungan nyo yung isa't isa, na-atake nyo yung isa't isa.
Complement each other.
Di ba? Sorry, ang nung random ng pagkasabi ko or baka na-cheesyhan sila.
Ma-cheesy ka. Pero totoo naman talaga. Oo. And it worked.
Di ba?
We've been together for 9 years.
O yan ang isang patunay, guys.
Di ba? 9 years. Siguro hindi kami abot ng 9 years kung sobrang pareho kami.
Tama. Anyways, thank you,
Thank
Alex,
you
for
very
being
much.
here. Salamat for accepting my invitation. Siguro bago tayo magpaalam, baka mayroon kang special thanks and shoutouts, baka ma-promote mo na rin yung pages mo.
Okay. So you can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, or on TikTok. Ibanag in the City. Sa Facebook, meron akong Ibanag in Canada. But if you search Ibanag in the City, mahanap nyo na lahat yun. I'm not too much on YouTube. But gusto ko i-shoutout yung friends ko. Si Patty Bao, si Kagawad Joey, si Admin Juan Paulo, at saka si Ate Guard. Sila yung mga friends ko, which you can also follow their podcast pala. It's called The Outsiders. It's recently launched. Yun.
Ayun. Thank you again, Alex.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, medyo bitin yung oras
Bitin
natin.
nga.
Baka, if anything, ako na lang lalabas sa sa contents mo. Pero yeah, thank you again for being here. And again, this is Kyle from Filipino TV. Kasama ko si Alex or si Ibanag in the City, Ibanag in Canada. And this has been Sa Totoo Lang Podcast. Kita-kits tayo next week.